Yo, what up, everyone, and how's it going? So, today I'm back with another one of my true life stories, and this is about the time where I almost got caught with weed in my car. Now, whenever I was younger, I used to drive around with it in my car, I used to smoke in my car, I used to not give a fuck, man. I still don't give a fuck. Well, maybe a little bit, because I don't really do that shit anymore. Me and a friend of mine, right, we were going to see a movie, and on the way back, I had to drop him off at his house. And whenever I dropped him off at his house, I decided to just, smoke like one or two hits off of this little tiny bowl that I have. The thing is it was so little that I didn't even feel high at the time. Now, after I dropped him off, I'm like heading home, my regular way, same way I go every fucking time I'm ever going home. As I'm, coming around this corner, there's this cop there, and he's like behind another car that's going really slow, and he's going really slow as well. Maybe about like 15, 20 miles an hour under the speed limit. And, I'm not like close to hitting him or anything, but, I'm kind of like close to him. As we keep going down the road, he pulls off in front of me into this church parking lot, and I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, I'm gonna have to drive right past him. And I drive right past him, and as my luck would have it, whoop whoop, the fucking lights come flashing on right behind me. And I'm just like, oh, god damn it, dude, because I've been pulled over with weed in my car before, so it's not like something new for me, but it's always like a really harrowing experience every time it happens because fucking, I can't afford this. Like, I have my whole life ahead of me, whatever. Not really, but you get my point. And so he pulls me over and he comes up to my window, I already have it rolled down, and I'm like, hello, officer. And he's like, license and registration. I'm like, okay, sure. Have you been drinking tonight? And I'm like, no. And he's like, have you been smoking marijuana tonight, young lady? And I was like, no. And he was like, I can smell it coming from your car. And I was like, oh. And he was like, have you been around anyone that's been smoking it? And I was like, not in like 8 years, which was a completely random number, but whatever. And he kept asking me if I had ever smoked it, and he kept asking me if I was drunk, and he just kept going back and forth between the two, and it was really stressing me out, dude, because it's like, I've been pulled over with weed in my car before, but this is the first time I've ever been like questioned about it, like point blank. He no holds barred. He's not pulling any punches. He hit me with the hard shit first. And I'm like fucking, just trying to get my shit together. Like, I hand him, my license, I hand him my registration, but I can't find my insurance because I'm not driving my own car. I'm driving my grandma's car, and I don't know where the fucking insurance is. And the movie let out at like midnight or something, so it's like 12:31 in the morning at this point. And he even questions me on that, and he's just like, do you know the owner of this vehicle? And I was like, yeah, it's my grandmother. And he was like, does she know you have this car? And I was like, yeah, of course she does. What the fuck? I'm like, still looking for my shit, and I open up the console right in the middle, and I'm like pulling stuff out of it, looking for the insurance, and I pull out, just all sorts of random garbage. Like, I pull out a soda can, and then I pull out a little Swisher Sweet Cigarillo wrapper. And as soon as he sees that, he's like, what's that? And I'm like, it's a cigar wrapper. And he's like, step out of the vehicle. And I'm like, do I have to? And he's like, yes, step out of the vehicle. And I was just like, I'm not feeling this. And so I step out of the car, and he has me like do, all these like field sobriety tests and stuff. He has me like stand on one foot. He asks me to like walk in a straight line. And then after a minute or two, he asks me if I can walk over to the cop car and have a seat. And I'm like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit. Oh no. Here it comes. Here it comes. Everything comes crashing down. And he's like, you don't have to sit in the back. You can sit in the passenger seat, and you can leave the door open if it makes you feel better. And I was like, okay. Do I have to? And he was like, yeah, just have a seat. And I was like, oh my god, I'm like freaking out, dude. Like, I feel like I'm in so much trouble. Like, but the thing is on the outside, I'm just trying to keep it cool. I'm playing dumb. He's asking me all this shit. I'm just like, no, never smoked. Don't know anyone who smokes. Haven't been around anyone who smokes. Yada, 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 yada. And so he sits me down in the passenger seat of the cop car. And I'm just sitting there, and he punches in my name on his little computer that's in his car, right? And this is something I thought was interesting. When he punches in my name, my mom and dad show up, and it shows me their entire like arrest record and all this, and basically like all their shit, just right there in front of me. And the thing is he's like still not letting go of the idea that like I might be under the influence of something, which I kind of was, but that's beside the point. He takes his flashlight and he puts that shit like right this fucking close to my face, dude, like this fucking far away. And he's like shining in my eye here, and he's like, follow the light without turning your head. I'm like following it, and the thing is like he's like moving the flashlight so far away that like I can't see the light anymore without turning my head. And so like I'm kind of starting to turn my head, and he like puts his hand on my face and he's like, keep your head straight. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like making me so uncomfortable. He's like touching my face and like holding my head and stuff, and I'm just like, trying to follow it, and he's just like, and it's like making me uncomfortable that I can't see it anymore. After he's like flashing that light in my eyes forever, and he starts asking me all this crazy shit, it's like first he started with like, have you been drinking? Have you been smoking weed? Whatever. And then he amps it up like so far ahead. He's like, are you on any prescription painkillers? And I'm like, no, I don't have any prescriptions. And he's like, fucking, have you ever done like cocaine, LSD, acid, just all this other shit? And I answer no, because that is the truth. I have only ever drank alcohol and smoked weed. And then he has me, like, I was even wearing the same jacket. He has me take my jacket off, and he has me show him the inside of my arms. Like he's looking for like, heroin marks, right? Like for fucking like little injection spots along my arm. And I'm just like, I feel awful right now. Like I feel awful that this is happening to me, because this is something, I'm innocent of all this other shit. Like, it's like I felt kind of bad when he accused me of smoking weed, but it's like he was, like really trying to bust me on something. And the thing is at this point, I don't even know why I've been pulled over, right? And then I'm just sitting there, and this whole time, I'm just like playing it cool, like, I'm kind of like cracking jokes here and there, just like talking to him, whatever. And he starts, he picks up my license, he grabs the registration. At this point, by the way, I still haven't even shown him the insurance to the fucking vehicle. And he gives me my license and the car's registration back. And he looks me in the eye and he's like, you need to get that headlight fixed. And I was like, excuse me? And he was like, your left side headlight is out. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. It's not my car, but I'll tell my grandma for sure. Am I free to go? And he was like, yeah, you can go ahead and go on home. So whenever I get back to my car, the first thing I do is I get on my phone, because I don't even know what time it is, For those of you who don't know, like I stream just about every night. And on this night in particular, I was still going to stream even though I was getting home late. And I posted on my Twitter like, hey guys, I should be home in like 10 minutes to start the stream. And I look at my phone and like a whole hour has passed. He pulled me over, and this whole ordeal took like an entire hour for the whole thing to play out from start to finish. I just couldn't fucking believe it, dude. After all that, like literally, because I had a headlight out, he pulled me over. And then he asked me if I was drinking and if I was smoking weed. And when I pulled out a cigarillo wrapper, a legal tobacco product, I was 18 at the time, he's, having me get the fuck out of the car and running all this field sobriety tests and accusing me of all this crazy shit that I am not involved in. Put it this way, like, I don't think all cops are assholes, but I definitely think a lot of the ones in this area of Ohio that I live in are complete fucking dickheads. Because this isn't even like a standalone case. There was a separate time I was pulled over because I don't have a front license plate on my vehicle, and I told him I was running late for a doctor's appointment. He said, we just do this to try and catch drunk drivers. You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. Like, come on, I'm in a fucking hurry here. I have places to be and shit to do. If you guys enjoyed this life story, feel free to check out some of the other ones. Smash that motherfucking like button. Add it to your favorites. Tell your friends. Sub to the channel. All that shit. I'm a sellout. Shill. Whatever. I love you guys, right? I really appreciate you all watching each and every one of these videos. I just appreciate it, guys. I really, really do. So yeah, that's going to be it. I'll see you on the next one. I don't really know what the next video is going to be. I decided I'm going to stop saying that at the end of the videos because I usually always change my mind. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one, I guess. Remember, leave a comment below to tell me if you want, you know, more Casey, more gameplay, more of this, more of that, whatever, you know. Like, if anything, I want, like, this kind of thing to be about you guys. Like, what do you guys want? What kind of stories do you want to hear? I'm probably going to do a Q&A video eventually, so, you know, save any of your questions for that. You know, it's something that's a ways off, so, yeah. Have a nice evening, guys.